Hi, can you hear me? Maybe I don't know if someone is connected. This is the first time trying this, making a live streaming. If you could say something in the chat, could maybe help. Not sure if it's visible what I'm doing now. Supposed to, but I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I think it's working, right? Yeah. Okay, then let's start. Okay, so I'm going to do today. Yesterday I already made a lot of progress on this. I was implementing a new enemy. Let's say this guard camera. Let me show you. Yeah, I call it watch camera, which is not the right name for this, but yeah. So that's mainly the idea. Now it should be kind of set. Yesterday I already set up the main components and yeah classes that define the watch camera, and this is the base component class that I'm going to add to the entity, which is going to be controlling the behavior of the camera. So let's go to the editor. I think this was already fine. Yeah, let's change this now. Add the engine. Yeah, now in principle you should see it in the engine. Let me quickly check it's still live. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's continue now. Oh. Ha. Okay. Let's go again. Sometimes this happens. Bum 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 bum. Okay. We should have a watch camera. Did I implement it already? Maybe I wrote it wrong. Let's edit this. This is our beautiful camera, which I believe I didn't do properly the normals. Let's first do that. If I go to Blender, let me quickly show you also in Blender. I believe now I should be fine the Blender. Yeah, let's open and the test scene. Oh, there we go. Can you see this? Not sure. Yeah, can you see it? Okay. Yeah, we have it somewhere. I should have called this. Yeah. Okay, this is fine. The only thing I have to do now is to make sure that the normals are outside, and for this one the same. Get the hole and make sure the normals are outside, otherwise it won't look properly in the engine. Actually, they are not rendered. So now important in my case is to make sure that when I export this to an OBJ file, which is the one I'm using, I'm loading in my engine for my game, everything is set in the 000 coordinates. We triangulate the mesh, otherwise it will load the mesh with a displacement from the origin. So now we can put it. I don't think you can see the pop-up window, but yeah, I'm just exporting now the two different parts that that are the camera itself. So I'm just putting them here and exporting them, and this is the base. So I divide it into parts. There's the movable part and the base, which is the part that is holding the camera, and the movable is designed in a way that will allow me to rotate the camera and move it. Okay, so this should be done. I don't think I need Blender anymore. Let me go back to the engine. Not sure if this is going to work now, but I believe no, I don't have a filter here. I cannot look for this now here. Okay, let's then restart the editor. Feel free to leave a comment if you want to know anything you want to know about the game, the engine of what I'm doing. Just please leave a comment. I will just comment on that. I'm checking it regularly. I'm actually doing this for the first time. See how it goes. If you guys are interested in watching this kind of content. Yeah, so now I can go back to my camera. There it is. Indeed, that was the problem. Now this looks okay. So let's start building this up. So one of the things I have to add now is the new component, which is this one. It should work now. Yeah, okay. Should be fine. There is nothing there. We will need certain things. So one of the things we need is a transformable. Let's put it here. So what we want is that this part rotates. No? So we can see here, this is the movement we want to make here, and this is why the origin is a bit at the bottom of the camera, and we can rotate it easily. And also probably we want to make this type of rotation. No? So this and this is the movement that the camera is going to have. Can just put it up. Okay, for that, what I'm going to do, since this is going to be actually a like a guard system, right? It's going to rotate to one direction and then back to the other, so that's fine. Then we can do this. We know we can define this in this component, which is called transformable. This will allow us to define this path or this movement that we want to make. So the start trigger is going to be on request, so we're not going to start this immediately, and the stop is the same, also on request or disable anything. What we want to do is a rotation action. Not sure now. Let's try out 0.5 of rotation speed. That's always trying things. Then the axis is going to be, to start off, let's gonna make it simple, just in the y direction. And we need to, it's not going to be constant. And let's say that we want to make this one. We actually should not define all these things here, because well, actually yes, yeah, it might be problematic. We might want to change this afterwards, because we want to use this entity for any camera in the game, any of them. We're gonna pull this as a entity, and then through the data where we define this, let's say enemy or the guard camera, we're gonna then set up some of these parameters. So the moment we pull this entity in the game, we adjust these parameters. So now it's not, we can make some default values here. So let's say that it rotates 45 degrees and some other things, but this will be modified the moment you put it in game because you want a different camera, let's say a different behavior per camera. Would be maybe even smarter to just have it in game, right? Because this I will think about by now. Let's gonna do it in this way, and then maybe we make it easier in that way, so we don't have to create so many different behaviors. Yeah, should be fine. Let's try out. Okay, so we need rotator. This is just basically a component I made to perform all the rotations. Now we can constrain. So what I'm going to do here is to say that you can go minus 90 to 90. That's the maximum you can go in Y, and then you cannot rotate now in X or in Z directions. Okay, boom. We have the rotator, we have the transformable. So let's select the rotator and the transformable. And we needed some other things. Let me see here. We needed field. Oh wait, you cannot see this part. Visual Studio. Okay, now yes. We needed the field of view, and these are not components. These are things that are created afterwards when we, when the class is initialized. So we need a field of view component now. The field of view is also going to be a child of it. So let's call it fop at empty, and then this one, oh wait, sorry, rotating, which is not something I want. And honestly, in this view, I don't have access to change that, so I cannot move it here. It's a bit annoying, but that's what is working with your own editor. Some issues sometimes. So let's just put this bit up. Actually, it doesn't matter because this is going to be always at the height from the ground. Let's make a field view component. Okay, and let's just leave it simple, like let's say 20, not too large, radius of 6, height 1. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Here, this is how high it can watch this field of view, can detect the player, let's say. Do we have a different one here? No. No needed attack, I would say. Nay. That's fine. Not sure if I want to put this as an enemy layer. I will think about later. By now, let's leave it all like this. And we'll have to change something. I did not think about that. But now I can exit and that should be okay. Let's save the scene now in case. And before, let's try to put the camera. I don't know if this is going to work. It's going to break. No, it's going to break anew. So one of the things I wanted to do now is to make sure, because get component in children, the transformer is also in the children. So this method here, I don't know if you can, is it's too small now? I think it's better. Yeah, so get component in children, it also access itself, so it's not only in the children, so that's a good thing. And it should find all of them. So one of the things should check, because these components are required. I will need to check that they actually exist, otherwise throw an error. But one of the things we can do, because we need the transformable, otherwise it's not going to work. Well, it could actually work probably if I check in the watch camera. I have done already the watching state. Here we expect to have a transformable, but I'm also checking if it's null, in case we just want a camera that is watching the whole time straight. So that makes sense. And in the same way, the camera spotting state, which is the moment in which the camera detects the player and then it's just checking it. This one that should use a rotator. Mm, Otherwise, it's not going to be able to look towards the player. But we could also make it that it does not has a rotator, no? So yeah, maybe it makes sense to check if it's nullable. It's not ideal to check it here. This is not the ideal wall because you would better not uh, yeah, directly not even rotate, right? But yeah, it's fine. Let's just leave it now like this. We will check it later. Okay, so let's go back to the editor quickly. See what this thing is going to do now. Oh, I forgot to rename. This is the title. Let me change the title of this. Um, Working on new enemy word camera live. Okay, now it's fine. Now I changed the title, so it should be more appealing for people to watch. But okay, let's continue then. Let's now add the camera. There we go. Here it is, our beautiful camera. Let's put it there for testing. Now, if this thing will work or not. Let me check that we have everything. Boom. Okay, more or less something like this should be fine. Let's make it a bit down like this, and here, yeah, there it is. Let's save the scene now. Exit. Okay, so one of the things we need to do now, well, actually this is not the way of doing this, sorry. What we need is to create a spawner, which spawner. We create a spawner, so we're going to bring this spawner over here. Okay, let's just get close. Boom, boom. It's funny, eh? Yeah. What? Yeah. Then let's just get rid of this, and then this is going to be an entity enemy spawner. That's not going to work now. I need to create something. So let me explain now how this works. If I go to the assets, so the first thing is this watch camera. Here, this we are gonna create a new data file for this camera or watch camera, this enemy. So let's call it. I always try to use cam0, a new one, and then let's see if there's no problem. Yeah, so there we are. So let's gonna define it. The first thing is to define which entity it is. So this data file is telling me this is the entity related to this watch camera. So this is the one we're gonna pull. Then we have this effect, but this is just because this should be removed. Actually, I'm not gonna even put it. I will remove it now. And the targeting distance, this is important. 6, this will define the range of the field of view, and we're gonna select the different states in which what this camera can be. It can be watching and it can be spotting, and then we make the connections. Now this has ID 0 and this will have ID 1. So we have to say that the moment that the camera watches someone or detects the player in this case, it should move to the state with ID 1, which is this one, the spotting state. The moment it loses the target, it goes to 0. And still not define anything, but if it stays a certain time, like this delay, let's say 1 second watching the player, then it should move to a state in which it's, for instance, an alert state, and we call the something. It's still not defined in the game what happens when you are watched for a while. Probably you have to go back and continue. I don't want to make the game that you can kill or the enemies. It's more really stealth based. You need to get to the goal without being detected. That's the point. So let's make it like this. And now I can save, and let me fix that problem first. Let me see. What? Okay. Huh. 1 second, please. Just wanted to check something before continuing. Okay. And please feel free to leave a comment if you want. The thing I have to do now is to go to the assets definitions. That is where I have the different data classes, and then I go to look for the camera data. This is what we saw in the editor. We saw the entity ID. So this one we said this is not needed, so I'm gonna get rid of it. We needed the targeting and the state, right? And I needed to do something here. Now I remember. So we needed to have a spawner for this type of data, right? For that, if you see here, we have the enemy spawner, which is a spawner of type entity pool, right? And it has the enemy data, this one. So we need to create a specific one for the. We also have a. Let's see which spawners we have: enemy and entity spawner, and the entity ref. Yeah. So let's code this. Let's say code in the core spawn, and here we have gonna have a watch camera spawner.cs. Let's copy this one and let's call it watch camera spawner .cs. This is not the most well, I think I like it in a way. I will explain now what I mean. The point is that we need to define the only difference that's going to have this class from the others is the following. Let me show you. Why is not here now? Okay. The only difference is that here, instead of this, we're going to have a watch camera data, right? And then this is going to be called now watch camera ID, which you can see already that this could be done in a different way, right? And then we have the data, so we can make it generic this. What I don't know is I think for this type would be fine because we always want to do the same. So I'm mainly going to already make this change now. So instead of now doing this, we have this for the enemy too, which is exactly going to be the same, but instead of using the watch camera data, we use the enemy data, which at some point will have another name because it's not that, it should not be that generic, this enemy data. I don't want to do it in this way. But what we are going to do now is to have a decorated spawner. We're gonna call it, and this is going to be decorated spawner.cs. Control S. Okay. Let me see. Let me take, for instance, the enemy spawner as a reference, and let's do the following thing. Now this is going to be called decorated spawner, right? And this is going to be actually type T. A bit like the spawner, right? Yeah, let's call it T, and then let's say where T is going to be asset data. That's what we want. Why? Because we want to pass this from asset definitions. We want to pass always an asset data here. Okay, so this is not going to have this because this is going to be an abstract class, and then we can abstract this part and say this is type of T. Instead out. Yeah, that's the problem. I knew it. Yeah. Because the data here is already. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, it's maybe then not the best idea to do it in this way, but we can handle the rest of the things. So yeah, still it's fine. Let's do something. Let's just get this one here, and then this is going to be the data. This is going to be a decorated spawner, and we are gonna pass the data. The entity ID is not going to be here, it's going to be somewhere else. We have the data. And then all these things are the same. So what we are doing is to create, when we execute, when we initialize the component, we create a pool for this data. And then here we're going to create a pool. We need the ID. Now for that, by now I'm going to make it like this. I'll see this is going to be the entity ID. Okay. And then we have here the entity ID instead. And we request this of type T instead. And it's not going to be an enemy spawner, so number from all decorated spawners in the same. This is going to be decorated spawner. Oh, okay, that's so good. Yeah, that's an interesting point here. I don't think we can do this. But yeah, let's do a decorated spawner of type T. And here, like this. Spawner, enemy id equal to. So we need to have access to this one. We can maybe actually make it a bit different. This, let's just make entity id, which is going to have a getter, a private, a protected setter, because we will set it from the other class. So now I can just do entity ID, and entity ID. So what we are doing here is to estimate the number from all related spawners in the scene. The moment we create the pool, we want to know how many entities we want to create at the beginning, and this is this is where I found to just check in the scene. It's not too efficient, but this is on initializing the scene. So this will just check how many of these type of spawners are in the scene, and then check if the entity ID we want to pull in this spawner is the same, so that we increase the counter. And at the end, well, let's just get the data here. Yeah, so this is the wait data enemy ID. This is not the this is the data ID. This is the data ID. Data ID, data ID, data ID. And this is the data. Data. And in the data is an asset data. Okay, we have to make it a bit different then. It starts being a bit annoying. That's why I don't like sometimes the generics. Becomes too abstract everything. So now I have the problem that there should not be an asset data now. Should make so enemy data should be like or we make it abstract. We make it with inheritance. We make like a abstract class, or we make interface. But if we make an interface, that's not going to work that easy. If we make an interface, it's not the point here. Now, yeah, because you could say instead of asset data, this could be a e. Yeah, we could make it like that. No, we could have something like so let's say here we could call something. Let me try this. Spawnable data.cs, and this should be in spawnable data. Yeah, it's maybe where are the asset definitions located? This is in game engine data. Okay, let's just put it there. Code data definitions is spawnable data.cs. Let's just make this and then say let me just take something and grab a strategy. Okay. Spawnable data. This is spawnable data. Dimension.data. The only thing I want to have here is unit entity ID, and this should be, I guess, I think. Okay, so now the idea is that we go back to the asset. Yeah, okay, I will just get rid of most of these things, I guess. I don't know if we actually need asset definitions, and if we go to the enemy data, we can say, hey, is this plus is spawnable data, and it should already be fine because we have it here implemented. And if we go to the watch blah blah blah, this is spawnable data. So we're basically abstracting some of the things we need. Instead of using inheritance, which is gonna make this a bit more complicated, we just use an interface in which we require this part. And then now in the decorated spawner, instead of having an asset data, we have the spawnable data that what we need here. And yeah, that's okay, but that's fine. So what we can do is to say we want an asset data and a spawnable data. Okay, that should be fine then now. Then indeed here I have the access to the entity ID and the data. Entity decorated. Oh, what happened here? Why is not happy with this? Oh yeah, this is the okay. So that seems to work now. We get the asset data from the data manager and we can request a pool. It is called decorated pool because we are passing a data type. And the moment we pull, this is an interesting thing, the moment we pull something from here, from this entity decorated pool, what happens is that we create this object and we are gonna look for what I call pool object decorators, right? And then we're gonna apply the decorator, and this decorator is just mainly the data that you can see here. And I can just show you quickly how this looks in the enemy controller. The enemy controller, it has a pool decorator type of enemy data. And if we look here, the whole reason of doing this is that I can pass the data from the pool and then I can build up the whole behavior having the data. Otherwise, I don't have a way of having this data. I need to figure out another way. Otherwise, I mean, there's probably other options, but this is quite generic, and I could create different behaviors for every type. Now, for enemies, I'm doing certain things. For the watch camera, I'm gonna do something else. So now I have a decorated spawner, which should be all working. This is not enemy ID anymore. This is data ID. And let's call it data ID, which is okay. Yeah, and we actually don't need these, to be honest. We need it in the other ones. Um, no, we don't need this. Perfect, this looks okay to me. So, what do we do now with this? We are gonna use this in the enemy spawner. So instead of it, it's gonna be a decorated spawner of type enemy data. That's it. Then we have this enemy spawner data. This is all fine. This we still need because I couldn't serialize this in this way using the. So if I try to do this, it's not possible because I cannot set it in the. This is not allowed. So I cannot do this, which is a bit annoying. Otherwise, you can select any. So with that, we want to do it in here. We are gonna have this enemy data, and this is going to be, let me see, this is a uint. Then what we can do is do the public virtual get protected set. This is allowed now. Yeah. Public overriding data. Make it virtual. Okay, we override it. And we're gonna return the data. Yeah, I cannot do it in this way that easily. Well, honestly, never tried to do this. Never tried this. Just curious to see if this actually works. To just yeah, to just override it and add the attribute here. Let me see. Enemy spawner. We don't need the data anymore. We don't need all these things anymore. We'll need this actually. Data. Data ID. Okay. And there are several things here that need to go through, like the greatest by expecting to have a data ID here. Yeah, so this dot data is data ID. That's actually how it is done. Nothing here. So this is expecting the data ID, and for the rest is fine. This is no needed. This is no needed. This is no needed, no needed, no needed, no needed. And the only thing that is needed is the way we serialize this, because we want to serialize into enemy spawner, which is going to be yeah, the enemy. This just can be data ID and data ID. Okay, so this is should be fine. All we can copy now this, and now we don't have to do all this stuff. We can say watch camera spawner, and then here is going to be the watch camera data. And we of course need to create a data class for this, otherwise we cannot serialize and deserialize this spawner. And here we have the watch camera data. Let's just take it from here. Okay, and here we have the watch camera data. Well, let's see if this actually works. We need to go to the component definitions, and that I do not forget to say enemy spawner. Here we have watch camera spawner data. Okay, let's call it watch camera spawner, and we can copy this guys. Yeah, this is quite annoying. I have to do this every time. I could automate this part, it would be easier. But yeah, by now I need to have all these data classes here, otherwise I cannot serialize and deserialize this into a JSON file afterwards. Yeah, this in Unity it's not needed, of course. This is done automatically. However they handle this is done in a different way. But yeah, it's fine. It's not that much work, to be honest. Watch camera spawner and spawner. No, we do have this, and what we can do now is the spawner data. We need an extra one because we don't want to have this anymore. This is going to be data ID is equal to data. So we're going to put here something called abstract class data, no, spawner data, and this is just going to have the data ID. It's not going to deserialize anything here because it's an abstract class, but we're gonna part from this one, and then we're gonna have this data here. That's the only reason we use that one, because we want to have the data and data. Okay, so this looks okay to me. We can try out if this is going to work now. Should not have changed anything in the current spawners. So if let's try out. How many errors do we get? Boom, 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 boom. Do 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 do. Okay, yeah, it works. There we are. They are the enemies. This seems to be working. So I think now we can do it for the other one. So if I go to the editor, uh, 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 uh. Boom. Okay, let's go to the watch camera spawner. Here now we can add our build class, watch camera spawner. And now as you can see, we can select the data and it's filtered by only watch camera data. So we select the camera 0. We spawn, let's say on enable because frequency 1 time only. This should spawn the camera now. So we do not have to do anything else. I'm curious if this is going to work. Let me do something. I'll create another debug point. So we're gonna get the player closer to here, and this is going to be the point index 1. This is just for me for debugging. What I do now is I create the graph and I can move fast to there. This is very important. Oh, something went wrong. Yeah, so problems with the watch camera. When we apply the decorator at 87, watch camera controller at 87, we are doing something that it doesn't like it. So there is no visual effects handler. Why there is not? It should be mesh renderer. No. The problem here is not that actually 87 and the visual effects 20. Oh yeah. Uh, we do not have any strategy defined for some reason. Apparently, we do not have. Or visual effects strategy object that's set to an instance of an object. This one from here. Let's see why. And the watch camera, this is happening. So I'm getting this here. Visual effects strategies. Oh yeah, it should be one only. Yeah, this is quite a dangerous way of programming. But I'm creating this strategy from here. I want to do it at some point from the data class that you saw in the editor, so I can create all these strategies there. But now I'm just typing them here because they are yeah, the camera only needs status visual effect. Change it. What is this visual effect? Is yeah, you saw the enemy when I hit it, it maybe changed color and things like that. So for the camera, you only want it when it changed some status. For characters, you have other things. So I just made it. Maybe in the data we could define that you select with which ones. But by now it's just created manually here. And my problem was that I was defining the array too long and then it was accessing it rarely. So it should work out. Yeah, it's just yeah, I think I should not have. Okay, we're still getting the same error. 90 this time. What's camera 90? Here. Oh yeah, adding states. No reference object not set to an instance of an object. Let's see. Again, another null reference. State data states state machine targeting controller state machine. Haha. The problem is the state machine. It's not initialized probably. Let me see how I do it in this one. And internal initialize, we create this. We set up and create this. We create it in the setup. So let's then just do it. We do not have a setup here, but we can do it here. And the enemy controller. Okay, we still need to define this per depending on the editor, no? So this is why we have a private void setup. It's gonna make this easier. So we still want to create an empty state machine. Yeah, if we are in the editor and it's not play mode, we still wanted to create a state machine for some reason. Otherwise, we set up and we're going to create here the state machine setup. We do the setup here. And let me see in the enemy controller how I'm handling this. So we make something similar and then we initialize and the setup we create the thing. Okay, now let's do it in the same way. So we always have a state machine and we initialize it here. Yeah. Targeting, field of view, transformable and rotator. This one's I'm also getting them. Yeah. Okay. It might give another error if it's something else. I'm not. Oh yeah, no, it was that. It was that. I'm quite sure now. That was the error. Yes, now it's working, which is good, good, good. Okay, let's see. Tom. So now I can move fast to there, and hey, there we go. Here we have the camera. I don't even think if it's going to work with this works. The field of view is not working, so it's not on. So it's doing nothing now, which is fine. It's not detecting me. I'm just curious if actually the reason is something else, but yeah, trying to pull. That's okay. So let's go to the watch camera controller. So we initialize the state machine. Let me check in the enemy controller, because what we are missing here is something very important, which is updating the state machine, right? This is very important. We need to update the state machine, otherwise it won't work. But in any case, I want to check that the watch camera starts in the watching state. And so one of the easiest ways to do this is to just output now something here, like updating. Well, good for you. So let's check if this works. Hopefully yes. So if I look at there, it is clearly not updating. Otherwise it would say here I'm updating. So then there is a problem here. It is not in the state I was expecting it to be. We initialized this, we created the state machine, we applied the decorator, we created all the states, all these things, and oh wait, I think the problem, enemy controller, internal enable, internal disable. We have to also do the same here, exit and initialize the machine, and then we need the internal dispose. This is also important, and I have it here for some reason down. No, I don't even have it here. Okay, then now it should initialize when it's disabled. Exit the machine, and it should initialize again when it's enabled, which will make it fine because then we have states. Otherwise, we initialize without any state. I think now should enter, because when you initialize, you check if the count is 0, you do nothing. But if there is a state, you enter the state number with ID 0, which is the first state. And now it broke, which is okay, because it's trying to rotate. Now it's trying to do something, which is good. So the rotator 166 is complaining, and it is this angle. Ooh. No reference. Why there is a no reference here? Angle range. Angle range. At rotator rotate 166. That's a very, but why? This is a floating point. Object reference was set to an instance of an object. It's a weird one. I didn't expect this to happen. This one is not set somehow. The angle range. So if x is different to 0, we are passing. Now this should work. There should not be a problem of here. That somehow rotate, update rotation, rotate towards. This is what it's doing. 156, updating in the y range because it's different than 0, and it's rotating, and apparently this one is null. Why is this one null? Angle range. How? No, cannot be rotated I range. Rotated y range. Oh, yeah. I see the problem. But they should be handled differently. They should be handled differently. We should not allow to do anything then. So, we should prevent this to happen. So when you say rotate or something, this is okay, it can happen, but we can say we can log this logger error, and we can say here something like rotator has no wall transform, it will not work. And we always can add something here like rotate like entity.vid, so we know which one is causing this, and even rotator with name entity.name and vid bam is not going to work. Okay, so then we return, and one of the things we're gonna check here is to say when you enable when we internal when we try to rotate, we say if this is null, you return you do not allow to rotate. We try to rotate with other public methods that are causing this, nothing else. Okay, so that should prevent it for the next time. And now in the meantime we can come here and say watch camera, edit, and we have the rotator somewhere else here, and this is what is missing, the wall transform. This is because it has to have something to as a reference, and it is. We can save the scene again even though we did nothing, but now it should be fine. And now we also know that we will get an error otherwise. So yeah. There we go. What's doing this? Nothing, but now it's not complaining. At least it's not complaining. Did we get the error? No, so this is fine. And the watch camera state, when it enters, it should start a transformable if it exists. And in the update, oh wait, where the fuck did I put the, where did I put the other thing? The, oh, I did the logging somewhere else. So I don't even know if this is actually, I think it should be fine. Console.write line, la la la. And what apparently happens is this transformable. Should be set somewhere, not transformable. Transformable, this is fine. And in the watch camera state, we are deserializing it in the watch camera controller, I think. I believe we are deserializing here. Yeah, we pass a state machine, which was already created, the targeting this, and the transformer rotator, which were taken from here. So they should all be there. We got the rotator also. Oh, wait. I see also the problem here. This is also in the children, not in the other one. Okay. Can I just check if this is working? It's still not working. Wait. This is still not working. Why? What's camera watching a state? So let's do something then. Let's say that we say here entered state, exit state. Okay. I'm probably doing something very stupid. Very stupid. Stupid. Look, let's enter the state. Good. Oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, so to improve the performance, I'm only updating entities or components uh, that not that in Unity usually when you implement this method this happens, but in my case it's not that easy. So what I'm doing is to have a flag which I say, hey, I want you to perform frame update and physics update in this case because I have a state machine. But otherwise, it's not gonna do it. So it enters in the state, but it's never actually updating the state machine. And this was the whole reason why it was not working. So yeah, now it should work. At least it should update. Yeah, okay, it's doing something. You see, the field of view first is in the wrong direction, but when it detects me, it changes, as you can see. Interesting. Bam. Okay, this works. It's not rotating. That's not working. I don't need this watching camera state. Camera state. Watch camera. Watching state. I don't need these things anymore. That I need to check the transformer working or not. It doesn't seem to be working, so what I'm going to do now is first rotate the field of view because I know that for some reason yeah, it has to be rotated. I had some issues with that, couldn't fix that easily, but the first thing to do is rotate this 180. This will make it work. The second thing is to see the transformable. It should rotate not constant, but it should rotate 45 degrees. using the rotator which is here, and this rotator should allow you I'm gonna speed let's say 20 degrees per second. Let's try out this. And the other thing we're missing is box collider here, because otherwise I cannot select this. It's not fully needed, this, to be honest. I would say, yeah, but yeah, why not? It's not a problem to have it. 0.4, and then now we say let's make it a bit smaller, 0.5 instead. Nay, when what I'm looking at the size in Z and Y, so it's 0.5, something like this. Now let's put 0.1, so it's somehow in the middle. Yeah, now it's super large in Y, so that's sorry, in X, so it's 0.5. So 0.6 actually, I like it more like this. It is not trigger, because otherwise I'm not sure. I think player state here at FOB I recast to the screen entity layer ground. Nay, entity layer enemy. This is important. I have to set it as an enemy, otherwise this is not going to work. Recast to the screen. Skip triggers through, and it has to not be a trigger. Okay, so this has to be an enemy, which I'm not too happy. It's a watching camera, but it's also an enemy. We should start thinking more on the nomenclature. It's not really enemies what I'm having here. I'm having patrollers, which are the walking entities there that can patrol and watch you, and these cameras. So different concepts, and the layer enemy can be applied for all. It's fine, but it's not ideal, to be honest. Assets, save scene, exit. Okay, let's see now what this is doing. Boom. Okay, now the field of view is fine now, but still is not rotating. Can I now select something here? Nay. Let me draw box colliders. It is okay, it is here, but it's not working. Yeah, still not rotating at all, which is annoying. Now, watch camera controller. So now it should be performing this update, so this is fine. Update, and then now the transformable should also be there, and we should say start. Okay, let's then check if this is actually working. Perform action. Okay. Console.writeLine is performing action. There is no one else doing this using a transformable right now, so this should be only related to this entity right now. Yes, I think so. I don't know. Is performing action. Oh yeah, of course. And then it's over, no? Yeah, okay. I see what the problem is, I think. So I think what's going control watching start. What happened? when you reach the last one. Finished. Stop. No, unfinished. Unfinished. So we say private void handle on transformable finished event. When we enter, we do if transformable is not null, we will do transformable dot on finish plus equal to this thing. By now unfinished, it can be we have stop. We want to stop it. And what do we want to do when we finish? We want to say reverse. God, this is quite annoying. Don't like it. Transformable reverse. It's not ideal. Stop actions. Start trigger. It should be a player loop, but it's not. Was not meant for this. Was not meant for this. I'm maybe using the wrong behavior to make this. It was meant for something else. When it's finished, is the last action. Unfinished, and then it stops. Play reverse. Yeah. Oh, pop, 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 pop. Stop, unfinished, perform next action. Is the last action unfinished? No play in loop. Oh yeah, it has the option. Yeah, so I don't have to handle this in this way. Quite good. It should look more on the things I've already implemented. I believe that should make it if I say play in reverse. So if I go to the editor now and I edit that, it should work. Okay, if I go to the entities and I say watch camera, and I get the transformable, it says to play a loop. Yes, exit. Okay, let's try this out now. I don't think it will fully work, but yeah. In any case, I have to go now. Thanks for watching. I don't know if some people bit. Yeah, I will see you next time.